Alex, I've been enjoying your posts about things that you did through the year as an actor. I've been loving that.
Thank you. That's all inspired by you.
Stop it. You're gonna
Seriously.
make me cry.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't believe you did a play. Like that's so like amazing that you did a play in New York already.
Yeah, it's been a crazy year.
That's insane. Like that's like my dream. Um, well, you guys, thank you for being here. I know it's a weird week with the holidays, but I really wanted to have one last call and I'm really, truly, don't tell this to anyone, but saving the best for last because Regina is one of my good friends. She's an incredibly inspiring person, not just actor, but so hard. Like one of the most, I think you're probably one of the most hardworking people I know. And you just like say you're gonna do shit and you do it. And you're so talented and thoughtful and such a good friend and you create opportunities for other actors and no really I'm just really happy I know you and I might cry like a bunch of times on this call um but I want to tell you guys Regina and I met in 2018 or 2019. I want to say 2018 maybe when she had just moved to Atlanta. I had moved to Atlanta rather recently at that point too. We were at a callback for Watchmen, which was a show on HBO, and we were both going out for like the same two roles pretty much. They were like basically like who was going to be best for these specific little co-stars. And I remember being like really nervous in the room because that casting office is like intense. It was Megan Lewis and RPM casting. And Regina just was like, "Hey," and she just chatted with me and was like so friendly. And you were like, I feel like very comfortable with people like Regina because she's incredibly, like I said, focused and serious and like good at everything. And then she also has this silly, awkward side, which I feel like I relate to as well. So her and I just like we're two little peas in a pod and we ended up making content together. She was modeled for me for a brand called Glad and Young that I was making content for back in the day. We worked on Watchmen. We didn't work on the same day, but we both got that job. We both were like people at whatever that place was. And anyway, that's my introduction to one of the most amazing people I know. I'm so glad I'm able to share her with you guys on our last call. And I am just thank you for being here, Regina. How are you? How you this is part of the cohort and I'm just this is them.
Hi, everybody. I need a list of who all usually join so I remember who showed up and who didn't. Because I hold grudges, you guys. That's part of adulting in this. I'm kidding. Actually, it's funny because I met Mariana. I think we chatted briefly, but I didn't like, I don't even, I think I like looked at your name on your resume while you were nervously waiting there. And then I messaged you later on Instagram. I was like, do you remember that? I was like, hello, I am not trying to be creepy, but I just moved here and you seem cool. And I saw your
Wait, we didn't talk in the room?
I don't remember because we've known each other for so long.
Okay,
My
well, it felt like you said something to me no, I think you said something to me in the room, and then
probably
like
something that,
we didn't maybe exchange contact, but then later you messaged me. You're like, "Oh, hey, it was blah blah blah." Let's
oh, that
just
makes sense. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense. But it was just funny because how you meet people in the industry isn't always like, oh, you shake your hand and it's like at a, it's sometimes just like, hi, you're friendly at a non-existent, auditions, in-person auditions anymore. And then I reached out to you and I was like, well, I also pulled your name from your resume that I was peering at. And not because I was looking like to compare. I just wanted a friend. I just moved here. And it's like, and I was like, I don't know how to meet people. Hello. Hi. And I was so lucky because Mariana's great, as you all know. So
and that's so brave of you. And because I feel like there's so much, there's a lot of fear when you go into the room, and when we used to go into casting offices, there's like this awkward tension where like you don't want to talk to people, or you don't know. Some people don't want to be talked to. Some people are like chatty little Cathys to get their nerves out. So it's a weird, but I love that because we all have to be, I mean, such a good example of just being brave and reaching out and to anybody, right? Whether it's a peer in the industry or if it's somebody just a contact because there's nothing to lose. And Regina, we had a call a few weeks ago with a Sky P. Marshall, who's kind of my mentor, and she just told us like that she follows people on social media. She likes all their photos. She she asks for what she wants whenever she wants it, and she's number two with Kathy Bates on Matlock right now because and she started acting at 28. I'm like, that's the type of shit that gets you like just being fearless and asking for what you want and making contacts. Anywho, so Regina, to start us off, I just want to ask you, when did you decide you wanted to be an actor? Because I know it was a little bit later in life, like me too.
Yeah, I've always been kind of expressive just as a person, but I think I finally decided I could be. That's the key thing. I didn't know I could do it. When I was 23 or 24, and I was in Texas at the time. So I was just doing like little industrial commercials here and there. I didn't even know you could do like big stuff until I did this like workshop thing in LA, and I met some people who lived in Atlanta. I was like, you got to move there if you actually want to act, or any of the markets, not in Texas. So that's how it was very organic. I just kind of like fell into whatever opportunities presented its way to me.
But what did you study in college? Because you studied something that's other than acting.
I studied a lot of things. Okay. I feel like this used to be a collaborative chat. Everyone can have like their audio on. But anyway, I studied a lot of things. I went to school, classic Asian. You got to be a lawyer, you got to be a doctor or business person, whatever. Like I tried. It's not like I was like, oh, I'm going to be in the arts. I was like trying really hard to get a degree in all of the things. I went to UT Austin, Longhorns. And I only graduated with and I shouldn't say only, I'm very proud of a Spanish degree because that was the only thing I could get down. I was failing everything else. I tried intro to advertising twice, intro to marketing twice, failed biology, but I could talk to people, so
I
I studied.
always forget that you did that. I always forget. So you speak Spanish and Cantonese.
Yeah. And I'm like conversational in Mandarin. And my GPA, my first year in college was a 1.7. Like, yeah. Those people who are like Asians are smart. Bruh, that just depends on who it is. I'm trying my best and I can't. I'm just hoping I get the pass fail thing. I don't know if any of y'all went to college or are in college. I think college is not for everybody. It's just it's definitely not a bad thing, but I just was trying to finish it and get a piece of paper. But then from there, I went to the corporate world. And I started in like an executive assistant project support role because I may not be the smartest book smart wise, but I will work. I will work. I am not afraid to start from the bottom up. And even during college, I had to pay my own way because I wasn't smart enough to have scholarships. So you guys, I was a hostess. They promoted me to a waitress for like half a day. And then I got fired off that because I was very bad at carrying things. And then there's all kinds I did like makeup for people. There used to be this job, I don't know if it happens anymore, but you are at like gas stations and when people have cracks on their windows, there's like a little gadget you can like put shit into it that glues it back together. And I did that for a little bit. I don't know. I just did everything I could just to make rent and pay my
And so
way.
did you like start like you said you were doing like industrials and you were doing little modeling gigs and like little films in Texas still, right? And so
Mhm.
then had you worked in any other market besides Texas before moving to Atlanta?
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Okay. So how many years did you spend kind of digging around in Texas before you moved to Atlanta with the
I would
acting stuff?
say like 4 years.
Okay. And so
Or
then you heard that Atlanta was like the place to go to start working. What
Mhm.
was your experience when you first got there, and how did you get you because your first agent was AMT at the time, right?
I actually I was with People Store for a brief moment, and then yeah, AMT.
When you submitted your materials in Atlanta for the first time, like what did you have like what was your package coming from Texas?
Oh my God. I submitted to everybody. I was with People Store from a referral, but that relationship wasn't a right fit for me. So I decided to leave them and then go find another agent. I didn't realize that I should not have closed that door yet. But I always say so I'm going to share my way, but it does not mean it's the right way. There's so many different ways you can choose this path. But for me, it was a bunch of commercial industrial things, and honestly for me specifically as female and Asian, I thought that that was enough to present, but I submitted to everybody, and only AMT did not reject me. They're the only ones. Everybody else was like, and I thought honestly, I was like, oh, being a minority, I should have a chance. Even then it was really hard, but now I think minority or not, it doesn't matter. It's just um it's more of what are you bringing to the table, and is there, what should I say? It's not like I can just pitch myself as female Asian anymore. We need to be more specific. Like what do you present on camera? So we have to let go of our egos, let go of what we think we are. Like I went in thinking I'm kind of a nut. Like I'm a quirky, dorky nut, and I thought I was going to be playing things that are more my personality. But the reality is my facial structure and how I appear on camera is not. I have a deep voice. I'm tall. I'm 5'8". I have broad shoulders. I'm, I have authority written all over my face. I have, um, I tend to book roles that are like 40 plus, and that's always been the way it's been. So yeah, I think that back then I was more like female Asian, but I would say if you're seeking an agent or if you ever want new representation, I think it's getting really specific on what your brand is. And asking people what they think. Yeah. People you respect, people you want the answer from, not just willy-nilly anybody. Yeah, don't do that, because I follow the bad advice from too many people. It's like too many wrong turns.
So my second follow-up would be like once you signed with AMT, um, and then how else did you kind of approach learning about a new market like Atlanta? Like you started talking to people in waiting rooms like you did with me. What else did you do to like immerse yourself in that?
Mostly like connecting with people, like I'll find them. I will find you on Instagram and I will send a message. If you don't see my message for a while, I'll like at least 15 photos, like whoever said that thing, to make sure you see me. And if you think I'm creepy, that's fine. Like my intention is not that, and I don't care if people think I'm weird because I'm already weird, so it doesn't matter. But um I think the main thing is to connect with people. We're all afraid to bother people, but everyone is afraid of that. Everyone actually wants to be reached out to. Everybody wants to make a new friend. I think we're so, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. Like I got so worried at first, like, am I troubling them? Maybe they don't want to hear from me. But if someone reached out to me, I would be so thrilled, like just to have another connection. I'm not trying to be besties, but I don't think anyone is. It's just we just don't want to be so alone in such a removed industry at this point because everything's so remote.
So
But
that's
yeah.
literally who's saying this in the chat? Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sophia, literally like that's exactly what we've been talking about, and the branding stuff. So everything that you're saying is definitely aligns with the conversations that we've been having. So I love hearing that. What was the first union job that you booked through AMT?
I think that was Dynasty. Yeah, Dynasty was a reporter role.
And what if did you face any challenges when working with a new agency like AMT in the beginning? Like how did you feel like what helped you gain momentum? Because then eventually you started like kind of booking regularly all the time.
Um, I actually had a conversation about momentum with somebody else the other day, and it's weird. For me, I don't feel like there's a revving up for me personally. I just everything I just do as I'm given. So if I receive an audition, I'll do it ASAP. And I'll do it as good as I can, because sometimes these deadlines don't, like, they're not always. Just get it in as soon as you can. Um And I don't know, I don't know. It's weird, Mariana. Like for me, it's just when I'm given something, I just do it and then I let it go. But that's always my thought process. It's not like, oh, I'll just like work really hard right now to gain momentum and then I'll land somewhere. I think I used to think it was like that until the business itself taught me that's not how it works. You're gonna rev up, gain momentum, and then it's gonna dip. And rev up, gain momentum, it's gonna dip, and it'll dip low, and then it'll dip, and then it'll shoot up high. But it's like, for me, momentum is, I think it's more of instead of momentum, it's just like a daily attitude. When I get something, I get it done, I let it go. But I'm also the type where I in the beginning it might be more disappointing when I was like, oh, I booked 2 things and then it's dead for like 8 months. And then I don't know, you won't last if we just ride the high all the time. It's like, I think for me, it's like being realistic made the lows and highs just all the same. It's just going with the flow.
I'm gonna ask fast forward a little bit and ask, like, obviously Stranger Things was like a really huge growth and opportunity for you.
Mhm.
Did you feel like your life changed overnight after that happened?
Uh,
It's kind of a tricky question, right? Because I'm expecting you to say like no, but I wanna hear the most honest experience of like doing something that huge and going to your first big premiere and yeah, like did how did your life change?
um, did my life change overnight? Absolutely not. And it still has not, but it taught me, I don't know, it just taught me that the business, it's not this you book one thing and there's so much buzz on the internet and you get a blue check mark and shit. Like none of it really, I don't want to say none of it matters, but it all just depends. I think that it put me on the map a little more than it would have if I hadn't had it, but it's also not like I booked it and like went on and did another big show. I took advantage of the booking, and when they announced it, I tried to get a manager, try to expand my team, try to expand to the other markets. And I got some good meetings, but you guys, I bombed those meetings so bad. I just didn't know that they would go in asking me like, what CDs did you like working with or have read before? Like I just went in like not prepared, and it's okay. Like at the time I was beating myself up, but I'm like, okay, that was a learning lesson. It was just not the right time for me. Um, but hopefully next year when I'm seeking to, and Mariana, that I'm seeking to expand my team next year, I'm like so much more equipped now, not just in how to answer the questions, but in experience, the people that I've met, and just an understanding of the business. Like it just, I don't know, but I won't take any of it back. Oh, and I will say that this shit costs money, you guys. Like going to the premieres and stuff, none of this stuff is like they pay you to fly out there. You got to hire a publicist, you gotta hire a stylist, make everything, fly your way out there, put yourself up. They might get you a car depending on the size of your role, but it's not, I would say don't expect anything. Assume that you cover it all. And then if anything gets covered for you, then it's like a nice surprise.
I speaking of that, like I just spoke to, I don't know if you know Tatiana Zapardino.
Mhm.
She was on the call with us a few weeks ago. She told me that she had 3 engagements for as a series regular for Paramount Plus. They gave her $1,500 only for
Wow.
three events, and one of them was like a you can wear the same outfit for the and like for
And
fifteen
that's
hundred
nothing.
dollars, you
Nothing.
literally like just makeup hair. Like if you're lucky to get one person to do both is $500 to $600, and then you have to buy your clothes and like or hire a stylist. How much was a stylist for you? Like 1,500, right?
This, yeah. Makeup and hair was 800. The publicist was like almost 1,000. Just
No, dude, I've been speaking to publicists. I decided not to go with a publicist this season, but like they're the people that are up at the top, they're charging $6,000, $7,000 a
yeah,
month.
yeah.
And it's a completely unhinged. I'm like, how do you like I don't anyway. So the thing is that begs the question, which I talked to Sky about actually, and maybe this is a side note conversation where I asked Sky, who's a series regular, I'm like, when did you get a publicist? And she said, I waited for this moment. Like I waited all this time until I was a series regular to get a proper publicist. And I was like, oh, we've been told I've been told to get a publicist now. And I don't know. I think it all depends on where you are financially in your life and what makes sense for you. Um, anyway, sorry, I'm digressing. In side note, the one of the publicists I spoke to, which I was almost signed with, is Justin Baldoni's publicist, who's getting in hot water the last couple of days with all this
Right.
shit. So I'm like, wow, dodged a bullet. Anywho, okay, Stranger Things. Another side note, we don't have to get super into, but like, how was your experience working on that show? And then another question is, what has been your favorite role to date?
My experience working on that show was phenomenal. I mean, I loved the show before I got on it, so it was like I was just so happy. And walking on that set, they really they get everything right down to like the pencil and pen you have on the desk. So it's just so easy to immerse myself. And it was cool to be part of such an iconic show. I only had a couple scenes in it, but still it was very rewarding. And I got to play not a reporter, because that was like my jam. And I am so grateful whenever I do get to play a reporter, because it's a paycheck. It's I stay relevant to the CDs in Atlanta. And I get to meet people. I get credibility the more we book, right? Even if it's a one-liner here and there, if I book, I'm a reporter in Spider-Man, like at least like the people within the industry, they can see like you can trust me to work alongside bigger names. What was the question?
What has been your favorite role to date?
Oh,
I feel like
okay.
the last thing that you posted about was your role on Found, which sounded like an incredible
Oh, yeah.
experience.
I have little things favorite things about everything that I do. So found I played a schizophrenic mom. So that was kind of cool to play again, not a reporter, but like a human, a normal human that has like a family. But that was super fun. And it was I don't know, I just getting to do something different was so rewarding. But honestly, I'm working on a soap opera right now. I have a little role, like, playing what am I allowed to say? Anyway, I'm doing a little something on Beyond the Gates that starts airing in February, and I get to be at a law firm and start some drama. But I love getting to work on a soap set, because I've never done that before, and it's a whole different beast. I liked playing. I mean, I could say stuff about everything. Like Red One, I had just had a few scenes in that, but I got to do my first stunt thing that never made it to the final cut. But that's fine, because I have footage of the actual work we did, so that was cool. And then I liked playing on Black Adam, because I only had like all I said was like, "Oh shit, where is he?" Like that's all I said. But it was interesting because I play like some janky helicopter pilot, and they like painted my teeth yellow. And I was very concerned. I was like, does this come off? Because I can't be having yellow teeth after this. Like, I just can't, I don't know. I'm trying to think. And then for Watchmen, like when we booked that thing, I had my scene, it was again just a few words, but it was like in a huge warehouse. And I had to pretend I'm like a ship flying person. They call it a
I thought
crew.
it was I thought it was a drone thing.
Yeah,
No?
drone. It was just like a big, but it was like a big, I didn't imagine this like big ship craft thing that I was moving around. Um, and this motherfucker, are we allowed to swear in here? So this,
Yes.
okay, this motherfucker was this PA. I say that in a good way. I just like swearing. I feel like I'm not myself. I don't get to swear. He's holding a leaf blower to my face, because it's supposed to look like the ship is like just landing, or like I'm making it take out. I can't remember. So I'm like, six something, 6 clicks left. I don't know, whatever. And then they're just like, and my God, they had it too close to my mouth. So the footage was like, like my, have you guys seen those commercials where they blow it and then your whole face is like, they're like, cut, we're gonna have to like back up the leaf blower and do it again. So that, I don't know, I just have fun memories on a lot of them. I just feel lucky I get to work on something and do something cool and contribute to a project.
I want to shift gears a little bit. Thank you for sharing that. So your day job, your survival job is virtual assistant work. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about how you got into that and how you sustain yourself in that field?
Yeah. So when I went to college, I went and I then entered the corporate world where I was doing executive assistant, project support stuff, scheduling, organizing, yada yada. But then I realized I needed a flexible schedule for acting, and so I saved a bunch of money to make sure I always have emergency fund, guys. I'm about to be super Chinese. You got to have your emergency fund. Get real with your budget. Don't blindly move through life not knowing how much money you make and how much you spend. Like, get real, do the hard work now so that you don't have to stress later. And then I realized that. So then I was like, remote assistants were kind of a new thing 7 years ago. So I was like, what do I do to become that? Because I don't have experience as that. So since I had savings, I quit my job and I took on a part-time one where it paid like minimum wage an hour, but I was like collecting experience and I would work my ass off. And then I started learning how to use CRMs and using different learning how people like to operate. So then I got a different client to work for, not replacing the old one. I now have two clients. And then so I did that and learned everything I could. And then so I got a third one and then I'm on repeat and I get to a fourth one and then I'm working 80 hours a week, right? Too much, way too much. My work is suffering. I mean, my creativity is suffering, audition is suffering. So then I had to like peel back because I'm always concerned that I don't have enough money to do something, especially when we have to work local hire. You just never know. But yeah, so I've always been the type of person, if I need to get something done financially, I'm a big saver. I get really real with my money, maybe too much. I probably have money anxiety that I will have to talk to my therapist more about. But anyway, and yeah, just finding there's so many types of work out there that's flexible with the schedule these days that I just think just keep looking for stuff. And for me, I just don't have an ego. Like I will do whatever and I will work myself to death. But the main thing is you do it all to find where your strengths are and then just draw those out and then focus on that. And then you can flourish.
Oh
And
my
it
God,
takes time.
that's such a good piece of advice. I feel like I also say that. I feel like I had to try everything in the industry or that's adjacent to the industry until I felt like I found a place where I belonged. So that resonates. Shifting gears just again, and if anyone has any questions about virtual assistant work, we can wait till the Q&A to ask about that. But my other thing is obviously I've told the team, the cohort, that you create these incredible opportunities for your peers and yourself to practice acting, scene study. You for years now, you've organized this weekly scene study group. And I want to hear a little bit about how that experience has been, because I know it's not easy, but I want to hear about just how you decided to do that and how you decided to organize that and how has it been? What are the challenges that you faced? And if you had any advice to give people about if they want to start their own thing like that, what would be the best advice?
Gosh, there's so many, but I learned a lot. I started a group because I was taking too many classes everywhere. And as I got better in skill, I noticed that some of the classes were the skill range was too big. And not that there's anything wrong with people who are new or more experienced. It's just like I'm trying to grow. So I'm trying to make sure whatever money, and you guys know, like acting classes or anything acting related is so expensive. So I have to be like smart about where I put my money towards. So I decided to create my own group where we would do scene work. And I started it with just a few friends like 3 years ago. And I'm a very hyper organized person. I have a control issue with my schedule, but that's because I want to be able to manage my time well. Um, and in the beginning, I just was trying to make sure people were accountable. I think that I try to make sure people would show up on time. People had what they needed. People were responsible for their own, like searching for their own sides to work on in the the weekly group, and some of them wouldn't go look for it, or they'd be like, I'm too tired, or, and I'm very understanding. I am, until like years. Then I realized, oh my God, I'm being I'm being an enabler because I'm saying yes to help everybody because I want everyone to win so badly. But that's hurting me and the other people. And then through great people like Mariana herself, a few people, they won't stand for it when I'm trying to seek out helping them. Like they had to stop me from helping them for me to learn that, oh my God, people who want something bad enough will show up and do the work. They will know what time something starts. They will get something in. If you get an audition, you are not missing the deadline. So why the fuck would you be late to something that I've created for, sorry, I'm getting a little frustrated. I've created that very obviously everyone's benefiting from, and I spend every week like, do you guys still think I'm useful? When the reality is that what I've cultivated is so powerful, and but the people it took the people showing up to respect me more than I respect myself to show me, oh my God, like you guys gotta find your people, and then like let it change and let people show you who they are, and then make sure your community is full of those, and it will always change. Once you find your group, that doesn't stay forever. It just evolves and changes, and hopefully you bring the people with you that continue to evolve and change, and be mindful of who you're around too, because I don't think anyone has bad intentions, but it is important to find the people that are aligned with you, your style of working. I'm not even saying just like acting. I'm like your style. Like Mariana and I are very similar. We're insane about our time management. We're on top of making sure things are, we respect each other's time. We make sure our documents are sent on time and all that stuff. And I know I can count on her. So, and she knows she can count on me, like always. There's never a doubt. And just, find those people. You can make excuses for some, but if it's like 2 or 3 times, you gotta let them go. Let them go. They're on their own journey. We're not here to judge anybody, yada, yada. But like, if someone's dragging you down, you gotta let them go. No one's meant to be permanent, unless they prove to you that they can be. So I will say that with my communities.
I just want to just touch on one thing that you just mentioned. We don't miss deadlines. And when
Mhm.
I hear any of my agents or any casting directors complain about people missing deadlines, I'm like, why are you an actor?
Mhm.
Like I'm so angry even thinking about people who are represented, who are getting legitimate auditions, who are missing deadlines. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you will never be successful if you miss even like, okay, granted, 1 or 2 times. I have never missed a deadline in 13 years. It is so irresponsible, and just I will not stand for it. It's the one thing I'll get really high on my horse about. You guys, the amount of opportunities that we get to show who we are to other people or to our peers or to casting directors or to our reps is it's like the biggest thing. Just show up for yourself and show up for everyone else. Or don't be in this business. Don't waste people's time because you're gonna just like, I don't know, it's a bad thing. Anyway, especially when people try to help you. That's why when Regina is talking about doing this thing with her for free for her peers and people disrespect her, I'm like, that breaks my heart because I know how that feels. But you can't control other people's like respect of you, and you just can't obviously can't control people. So yeah, people are weeding themselves out in situations like Regina's class and in the acting business. It's all interlocked. So as long as you know that you're showing up for yourself and for other people and for deadlines, just know that you're already doing that much more for you to be a better actor. I hope that
Yeah.
made sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I went on my course. Um, I guess one thing I want to say also, can you go quickly, briefly, how you organize? I know you send out an email. You now have a Google sign up sheet. I just want to inspire people to maybe start their own. You have a Google sign up sheet that you send every Monday, right?
Yeah.
And you have slots. People sign up for the slots, And then once the people that sign up for the slots take all the slots, the Google Sheet closes.
Mhm.
And then you basically organize who's going to read with who. You email them, and then those people need to find a script by a certain time, and then you meet up by the end of the week at at noon on Friday, and everybody shows up on time and does their scenes, and there's a facilitator for every scene. That yeah, I think it's very powerful and incredible format, and anybody that is looking to create opportunities for themselves and their peers like that should definitely try doing that. Um, I feel like I can't speak today, but I hope I'm making
You're
sense.
doing great. You're clear and concise. I love it.
Oh gosh. Okay, so we can, if anyone has any questions about that, we can get into that Q&A in the Q&A for that as well. But my last question before we get into the Q&A, or my last two questions, is how do you stay so focused? How do you find balance with all the things you do? And then what is your favorite piece of advice to give to other actors?
How do I stay focused? Well, ADHD medication really helps on the daily basis. But I kind of live I live every day that I get I wake up, I'm like, today is the day. I still live like that. I still wake up and I'm like surprised I got to today. So like I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am. And then I'm like, oh, what can I do today? I try to just I guess I don't I don't know. Today is the day. I don't know how I stay so Oh, you know what? I have a really clear schedule. Like I know this is the thing. If you go through life wondering when your next workout is, wondering when your next time you start your day job work is, wondering when you're going to rest, you're just gonna fall behind. Like and that took learning for me. Like I am chaos without my structure. Like I'm like in a coloring book, I am all the colors, but I need the outline. The outline is what helps me figure out where to put my colors and how to make something look like something. But I have a very clear schedule every week that I map out like months in advance. I have it, it's like, I call it like my ideal week, and I work out 3 days. And you know what? There's so many things that once your schedule is mapped out, it's discipline. It's don't take things personally. In life, there's so many things that be thrown at you in the industry. If you don't book a gig, which most of them you won't, for things you audition with, or something gets cut when you see the final thing. I don't like let it hurt for a second and then you keep moving on. But I just have a lot of systems in place to know that I can be taken care of. So when opportunity comes knocking at my door, I can handle it. But there's so many things in my life that I feel so lucky to have been able to do. Like I didn't work out a day in my life until I was 28. I just didn't know anything about exercise. And then someone was like, hey, you're really awkward. You should either take kickboxing or salsa dancing. This is back in Texas. And I was like, well, I can't dance. And kickboxing, I feel like it's like my calling being Asian, which doesn't make any fucking sense, honestly. But I started kickboxing and now I coach it. And it's not like I'm that great. Someone can really kick my ass outside on the streets. I'm just saying. But I started it. I was horrible, but then I like got lessons on the side for a good deal when I could, and I trained every single day for an hour a day. I wasn't like one of those people who are like, "Oh, I'm gonna get good at this. I'm gonna dedicate 6 hours a day or 10 hours." That is not how it works. You got to be. I really feel like you just got to be realistic with time. So, and you don't want to burn out. Like I'm all about longevity. If you go on a diet, an extreme diet, that shit does not stay. It's a lifestyle change to eat well. Add in your cheat meals twice a week. I do that, maybe too much right now, but you just everything in moderation. Oh, that would be my latest thing in this stage of my life. Everything in moderation. You can't be super extreme because extreme equals burnout, and there is no longevity in extremism. Like I always have passion. I always want to do stuff, and I'm often sad and discouraged, and I need someone to pick me up. But my schedule, my systems are always there, always like in moderation. But yeah, even in my kickboxing group, I created a community of, I call them my warriors. We get together like twice a week, and they've been our gym shut down and I had to move to a new one and 13 of them followed me. Like, and I just, it just blows my mind. When I started playing tennis, I was really shitty. And then I created a community there. And then I started creating lessons on Tuesday nights where I had 8 people like make sure we could practice. And I was the shittiest player there. I like still don't understand why these people come to, but I'm consistent. You know, I always show up for you. So because I did that, they return the same. And you will find your people. And you will also find the people who are leeches. Okay? The motherfucking leeches be out there. And you gotta, sometimes it will suck some of your blood. And then by the time you realize, sometimes somebody gotta point it out to you. And then you can peel that shit off, fucking throw it as far fucking away as possible. I've had a rough year, but it's been good because now I've replenished my blood and I can survive in a much better space. I'm sorry, I'm just going on and on and on.
No, there was so much good stuff in there. I think it's so important to find people that you know that will have your back as much as you have theirs, because yeah, there are just a lot of people that will be there for the good times and use you, and then when you need something from a friend, they won't be there for you. It's really hard to find those people. When you do, never let them go. Um, yeah, this is real. This feels like a therapy session. I so my follow-up question is, and also a reminder that you've created communities not just in acting spaces, but also your exercise spaces. I think it's my favorite quote from like the time that I was doing executive leadership training is, if it's to be, it's up to me. And that is something that I try to carry through my life. Like, if I want something, it's the only person that will make it happen, most likely, is me. Whether it's my career, whether it's creating a community that I think that I need or want, you have to be able to um just have confidence in that you can make that happen for yourself and for others, and people will follow. Just like this space, right? Like, I had no idea that anybody would sign up to be in my little mentorship thing. And it's not just benefited, I hope it benefited other people, but I know it's benefited me, because I've had to, there's certain things, like when I gave you guys about, the stats on like SAG job rates, I was like, do you think I looked that up before, in the last few years, just for funsies? No. The reason I learned all that shit was to tell you guys, and then I learned it too in the meantime. So everything I do, you do for others, or I do for others, I know will also benefit me in the end. Like, it's mutual. That's the most beautiful thing in the world. Um, Anywho, okay, so Regina, creating systems in place is a great piece of advice. Creating those communities. Is there anything else that you would say to somebody that's in the beginning of their acting career, that something that helped you get to where you are?
I mean, I've been talking a lot about systems and time management, which I think is most people in life are struggling with. So the faster you get at it and get real with yourself, the better off you'll be. But then I forgot to mention like the creative part, like learning acting. Take classes, try different styles that work for you. Talk to people who book a lot. Ask if they'll have a 30-minute chat with you on Zoom or get a coffee, whatever. And collect information. You don't have to take all the advice, or sorry, you don't have to act on all the advice, but just collect and then find what fits you and what doesn't. Try some of it. It might fail. Like whatever you do, you can't go in being like, this is it. This is my moment, because you're gonna learn. So you know what? You could do it. You could do it, and you're gonna learn so fast. That's not how it works. And then it's okay. It'll like that's even for me. Like it humbled me, and then like I don't know. I'm a Meisner girl. Like that's where I started and studied. I love behavior reading and I still do it till this day. And then I took some scene study classes, I took audition classes, and then I finally got to a place where I formed my own group in a way that worked for me. But if anyone says like this is the only way to do it, I disagree. I think you just have to keep trying different things and find what fits you. If you're getting auditions, you get an agent, let the data prove to you the shit you're doing is working. But if like you're not getting auditions or you're not booking anything at all, or you're whatever it is, switch it up, change it up, throw a wrench in your system. I have systems in place and I throw a wrench in it all the time, because if you keep a system and whether it's for your creativity or for just managing life, you can't keep the same way because then you'll just stay the same person. We got to keep evolving. Don't waste one life, the one life you have.
I love that. And I love that you reminded me of our thing that we used to say to each other, today is the day. I forgot to mention that. I feel like we haven't done that in a while, but it's such a good all this advice is incredible, but today is the day. Like we just always have to be grateful for the moment that we're in. Like whether or not our careers are in the place that we want them to be, like the fact that we're alive, the fact that we're surviving, and the fact that we are even allowed to even think about the fact that we can be actors is such a gift. Like such a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, I want to open it up to the people in the room. I'm sure everyone has questions, or even if you want to say something to Regina, feel free. Uh, okay,
AMA.
yes. Rebecca, I saw your hand first, I think.
I know I'm like trying to find the raise hand thing and it now maps out my hand. Anyway, this has been great. I also actor in Atlanta, but also have a bunch of executive assistant experience, which I think I'm curious with the virtual assistant work. When you first got that, and I apologize if you mentioned this, was it like did you look for a job and it was like a cold reach out and then like work beget work? Like, how did that happen for you? And then second question, which is a bit different, is in terms of your systems, I would love to hear like how granular you get like on a day-to-day basis. Because like in terms of being able to plan your life, but also, you know, you get a day and you have 3 or 4 auditions. Are you like pivoting and then planning for like a day where maybe you don't, or just like how does that look? And I'm so curious on like practically, like what does throwing a wrench in a system look like for you that's maybe, you know, you're being productive, but then the data is showing you like, oh, maybe this isn't working. So like, how do I pivot to work smarter and balance all these things?
Okay, so as far as getting the EA jobs or VA jobs, it's going on Indeed, making sure I have a good resume. If any of y'all need resume help at all, let me know. I'm happy to help. You got to fudge it a little bit. Like everyone makes it sound better than it is. You just got to sell yourself in the interview. But as far as this specific lane of work, it's you know, applying for jobs. And there's a couple like VA assistant type agencies and jobs. I can send those to Mariana later. She has a few of them and you can apply there. But if you have more questions on that, I'm happy to help with that. Might be a longer conversation. And then my schedule if something doesn't work. Okay, so this year I got diagnosed with arthritis. It's like a hereditary thing, unfortunately, in my knees. And I play I used to coach kickboxing 3 days a week. I play tennis like twice a week and pickleball 3 times a week, whatever. And so I had to throw a wrench in my system because literally I couldn't do that much anymore. And I think I should hold on, let me back it up. Like I have my schedule planned out, but not every second of the day has something. I just have my key things that I need to get done. I just make sure that they're done. I I mean, can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'm so curious because I'm like, are you planning like, okay, the morning I'm gonna work on my VA work and then I'm gonna make sure I keep the afternoon open for like anything artistic, and I have like a list of priorities and that's like my artistic time, and if I get auditions, I'm gonna spend it on auditions, and if not, I'm gonna work on something else, whether it be scene prep for your class or working on your class or like what, because you know, it's different every day. So I'm curious how like you stay so structured but also pivot.
Yeah. I'll show you guys a, a date that's in the future. Can you see my calendar?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So this is the 13th of January. So I wake up about 5, 6 a.m. every day. I only coach kickboxing once a week now, just because that's all my knees can manage. So that's in there. This WB means work block. So any VA work that I do is within the normal hours. I said 6 a.m. here, but 6 to 5. Like I try to just get work done. If I have meetings that are recurring, they're scheduled in here. They're color coded. I gotta go to the dentist for my cleaning. So I got therapy. God damn. That's not even a full week. So I don't want to go to this team huddle. I'm going to delete that. Anyway, so you see there's a lot of gray area that's open that's made for like my day job work. Okay. But in my mind, I try to get as much as I can get done on Mondays and Tuesdays. But if I have an audition come up that I have to take care of, what the hell? The Chinese stuff came in, sorry. Let's say like today is the 14th and I have to tape an audition this afternoon. No, sorry. Let's say I have to tape an audition at this slot, right? And maybe it overrides, because you'll find out about the audition the day before and it overrides one of my meetings. I'll probably call my boss and be like, hey, I have something going on. Can I move this to a different time? But because my schedule is so mapped out, I have a spot I can move it to. So anything that I want done, I always can see in this window where I can move it to. Here's I do this fucking a big workout junkie, but I don't take a lot of time to work out. Then I track my spending. I have it scheduled in for an hour a week. I make sure I'm like staying on top of my budget. Here's my Scene Study Jam group that Mariana was telling all about. It's recurring every Friday. So every week when I look at something, I see what I have and I can just move stuff around. Say I have a shoot on the 15th that I find out the week before. Then I'm like, okay, I got to move this. So in advance, I call the dentist. Can I schedule to a new date? So I don't, I mean, it's not like super granular. Like I don't write out like, oh, this is my creative block and this is exactly what I'm going to do. But every now and then I will, depending on how anal I want to get. But this is how, like, if you look out, same thing. I have repeated things over and over again. I always have tennis on Tuesday nights. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just getting real. Oh, this color. This should be gray. Look how anal I am about my color coding. I gotta send. I've not been good about this. I just have reminders everywhere. But as far as the VA work, it's all within these gray blocks, these WBs. Like I can schedule a meeting. Anyway, this might be.
Can I ask a random finance question?
Yeah.
I know you're really good at that stuff too. Do you max out your IRA every year?
I try to. I don't make that much money, so I just save and save and save until I can, but I do try to max it out. I try to put something in there. I think it's 6,500 now.
Do you recommend, like, if somebody has money in their savings and an IRA account that hasn't been maxed out, to put some of their savings in the IRA?
Yeah. Make sure you guys have your emergency funds first, like at least 3 months worth of rent and minimal expenses, and then everything else, like start an IRA. I have everything with Schwab. If you need any, that stuff can feel overwhelming. I'm not a financial guru. I'm really bad with numbers. Obviously, I had a 1.79 GPA. Okay, at first at UT Austin, which is embarrassing as fuck. But anyway, but that doesn't mean you can't get the basics down and at least set your future up for success, so you don't have to worry so much.
I love this because we had a little finance chat a couple of weeks ago with the team. Also, just side note, do you have a high yield savings account that you kind of have that like, does that emergency fund live in that space?
Yeah, I think it's called a high yield. I don't know. It yields like 4%.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It's yeah. So it's with Ally, which is an online bank.
Mine is with Schwab, which is through market.
Oh, yeah.
Or Goldman Sachs, whatever. That's
Yeah.
the point. Okay, so cool. Who else? Sophia, you had a question.
Did I answer those questions, Rebecca? Did I kind of answer?
Yes, so great. I love it. And I similarly map out my schedule that way. So I was curious just because I think we think very similarly. So yeah, love it.
Cool.
I'm riding off of that train as well, because those were my exact questions, which is awesome. But I was able to come with the third question, which would be which honestly is already speaks so much within like your schedule. But I'm thinking more so also just like creativity and just like wanting to stay disciplined within your art when you have your off seasons, 6 months in, 8 months in, you're not working. What do you do personally to just, try to remember that you're a human being and you know, you try to balance both the acting life and create opportunities for yourself on top of the scene setting and whatnot. Like, I guess my question would just be like, what do you personally do? I already know that you do kickboxing and you do tennis and pickleball. Yeah, so I just want to know more about that.
Yeah, I don't think the creative world, the acting stuff takes up that much of my time. Like, yes, I do my classes, or if I'm in a more heavy duty class, it's like once or twice a week. But outside of that, I just live my life. Like, I try to, you guys saw all the sports stuff. I try to have a lunch with a friend every now and then. I try to meet people outside of the industry all the time. Watch how they move. Everything can be an acting study while you're doing normal everyday life things. Your Uber driver. Like some of them are really annoying. They're like trying to talk to you, you're trying to focus. Maybe hear what they have to say, where they came from, and why they are the way they are. The more you live your life, I feel like it better informs you as an actor, despite just having skill. You just know your stories. But yeah, and yeah, I just kind of live my life. I just pretend I'm just like a normal person without an acting career. I just live life.
I love that. Alex, you had a question, right?
Yeah. Hey. So you said about you had a bunch of meetings that didn't go so well. If you were to do it all again and it was all happening again tomorrow, how would you approach it differently?
Mm, well, I learned, that like I should come in. They might like a meeting within a smaller agency, but still it's out in LA. They were like, which casting directors have you read for at all? Or what genre of shows do you see yourself as? Or knowing my brand better. Asian female does not cut it. It just doesn't. Um, even for you, I don't know. I'm assuming Caucasian, right, Alex? So like Caucasian male, that doesn't cut it. So me, even for a small amount, it's not enough. Like get really real with yourself and know your brand, know how you present, and release any thought of what you want it to be. Like just for now, I think figure out what your brand is, and then you can develop on it later. But yeah, I would say, for if I could do it again, it's just learning the shit that I learned during the call. So, and then by the time that happens, I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm so fucked. It's fine, but that's okay. Like I'm just gonna keep grinding, and something else will come. And if it doesn't, fine. Try my best. But usually if you're on top of your shit, the opportunities do come. They do come. ¿Qué más? Who's buying me a shot? I'm just kidding. It's only
Um,
Oh, also,
Well-
I have like workouts scheduled into, not just because I'm anal with time management. I will gain weight, or I will lose track of myself if I don't have everything scheduled. I will not poop right. I will not wake up right. I will not train right. So that's why my schedule is so. If you are someone who just can't get your shit down, you got to put in the work for the schedule. I am that. As people are always like, oh, Regina, you're so organized. Like this is so naturally. Bitch, life is fucking hard without it. It's just a little bit easier when I have it. I'd rather have it a little easier so I could focus on what I love doing, which is acting.
Rebecca, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I guess go back acting wise. When you moved to Atlanta and you signed with AMT, how long did it take you to book that first co-star? And like what type of momentum were you getting in terms of like and maybe you can't measure this and that's totally okay. It was that random, but like were you, and I think I asked this question in this way because the climate of our industry is so like everyone kind of is what's going on in terms of, I guess, momentum of amount of auditions, like volume of auditions that people are getting now versus when like you booked that first co-star. I'm curious how many auditions theatrically like were you having, I guess, ish a month, and then like how long did it take you to book that first credit?
Yeah, I will answer this question, but I'll also preface it with it's going to be different for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's hard. For me, I booked Dynasty within a month's time.
Wow.
I didn't have that many reads. I didn't have that many auditions. And then for like the 8-month span where I didn't book anything at all, I had like 100 auditions. I didn't book any of it.
See,
So it's
yeah.
like, for me, it's I used to be really anal about tracking the numbers. I think it was more like, as long as I trust my reps, but that doesn't mean my rep will be good for, just because they're good for me doesn't mean they'll good for you, you know. You kind of have to find the person who's like working for you and making sure if it's slow and your peers are saying it's slow, then we just need to calm down and like not worry about it. But when it might pick up for me and not for you, and then for you and not for me. Like it just, but if you trust your reps, and only time can tell that. But if you're finding you're missing out opportunities, or things are kind of, you're not vibing with them anymore, even if you check in, then maybe it's time for a change. So that's an answer, but also a terrible answer because not concrete.
But it's such a good reminder that like we're all on it, which is why the mentorship has been about, I think, what it's developed into. Everyone that we speak to, everyone that we've had on as a guest has had a completely different trajectory than all the other people. We talked to Tatiana Zafardino, where her first booking was a series regular. How was
Wow.
that even possible? To even wrap my mind around, right? But that doesn't mean that he kept working for years on afterwards. Anyway, point is that that's a great reminder. So thank you for that. Anyone else have questions? We're gonna wrap up with Regina and let her go soon so she could align with her schedule.
My time blocked, so I'm good.
I appreciate you.
But if y'all have questions, like shoot me an email or message me. I love
Yeah, how
when people
how
want to
can
learn.
people keep in touch with you? Can you
Yeah,
drop
you
your
can.
email and your
Yeah.
Instagram in the chat, please?
All my shit is the same. I'm like reginatingche@gmail.com. My Instagram is Regina. You could probably find where I live. I am not hard to find. And that is on purpose because, in case some agent or somebody needs to reach out to me, you will find me. But yeah, if y'all have any questions or follow-up things or anything about work, scheduling, whatever, like please reach out. I love helping others win. The more you win, the more I win. And also like in the business, like sometimes we get like, oh shit, my friend booked. Like, how could they book? Or like, when's it my turn? It is okay at 100% to have those feelings. I still get them every now and then, but once you get them, just allow yourself that 2 seconds to live there and then pivot and be like, fuck yeah. In the future, it's going to be me, like celebrate the other people, because the direction of your mindset, literally, that's how your life will move. And it's a daily basis thing. It's a daily basis thing. But I always want to say, like, it's okay to feel like shit. Don't ignore that. Don't ignore that. Just pivot. But keep going.
But I do believe that like when others win, you win.
Mhm.
Like when
Yep.
your peers are winning, that means that you're surrounding yourself with people that are good for you, that are
Mhm.
on the right track. So
Mhm.
be careful about who you surround yourself with. Yeah, that's one lesson from today too. Cool. Anyone have anything else? I just thank you so much, Regina, for being here. Today is truly the day.
Hey, yeah. Yeah. And here's my number. Anybody want my social security? Just take a screenshot of that. Just message me. I'm here for you guys, and I'm happy. And I love that you're in such good hands with Mariana. She is a gift. She's an angel. She's just I look up to her so much, and she is extraordinarily talented. Yet she's still human. Like she still has her shitty days, or like I love how real. Like that just makes you that much more beautiful. It's like, oh my God. Also your face is just like, I just want to touch it. Sorry.
I want to touch your face too. We can do that soon.
I want to touch all y'all's faces. I love seeing y'all smile and laugh. Like, please, please, please enjoy. And holidays can be a shitty time. So allow yourself to feel shitty if it is, and then try to be happy when you can.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all these amazing, beautiful reminders. Thank you for your time. We'll let you go, and everyone, yes, let's give Regina a round of applause. Follow her, and we'll come back in 4 minutes at 1:10. So
You guys, if
thank
she
you
talks
again.
shit about me, let me know. You got my contact information. Okay? All right, bye. Y'all take care.
Bye. Bye. See you guys in a bit. Yeah. Okay. Well, as you saw, Regina's awesome and wild, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Um, how's it going? Does anybody have anything to share or some good news, bad news, something you're feeling, any questions you may have just off the top of off the bat? Please speak now or forever hold your peace. And don't for not forever because like you can always message me.
I was just gonna say, I know I have not been the most active in the WhatsApp group, which I apologize, everybody. I am not good at group text. Anyway, but these calls every Monday and just like the variety of people you have brought in, like, has blessed me, and I know has blessed everybody in this group, like, so much. So just I know we're not at the end, but just so grateful. Like, it's been such a joy to, like, every Monday, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna learn something," and everything is so different. So, I just thank you for the, like, plethora of perspective that you've just brought. It's been such a joy, especially in, yeah, a weird year where, like, stuff is happening and there's momentum to be made, but then also we're all kind of in this weird place of, like, how do we make the most of things? So, thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that, and I'm just grateful to realize how many amazing people I've been able to meet over the years, and how different they are, and how all of them are so willing to share their their story and their time. And it also made like my life so much easier because I'm like, I can share my journey, but that's not going to span like four, 4 months of calls. So I feel grateful that I've had that to kind of lean on and also be able to share with y'all. Um, so thank you for saying that. So I figured, it's our last call, and I know that I was going to share what I learned from Erica Bream's class. Did anybody else take that class? Nice, Julie, great. So maybe some of the stuff might be repetitive, but I think it's important to review some of that stuff. And I also wanted to talk about my most recent experience making a voice reel. So not today, the last couple of weeks, I decided to work with Real Art. They have a presence in New York and LA. The reason why I decided to is I'm not a huge fan of those like make your own reel companies, but I think it's better than nothing. I think it serves more of a purpose to make your own stuff because it doesn't look as fabricated by a reel making company, but it's still better than nothing. And I don't know if anybody has seen my reel, but it's a lot of TV stuff that I've booked over the years, which hasn't really given me the chance to dig into a character and actually show off any acting skills outside of like some of the short film that I made in Russia. So I was like, okay, you know what? This year I want to do that, see how that goes. And they offered me the opportunity to make a new voice reel as well. But I said to them, I was like, I don't know if I shared this, but I was like, hey guys, what if I make you a couple of like TikTok videos about the process and you like throw that in for free? And they said yes. And I'm so glad that I did that because I don't think I would pay for that same service. So I wanted to share why. Um, the process was basically like I met with a director of voice reels that they hire to direct you in the recording process. So we talked a little bit about brand, about the kind of characters that I want to voice, kind of work I want to do, whether it's industrial or video game or commercial. More interested in leaning into animation because of my language abilities. So him and I kind of decided on a direction, and they sent me, 15-second scripts, and it was one script per category. So one commercial, one animation, one industrial, one historical documentary, narration, and maybe something else. And I was like, really? That's it? Like I could pull this from the internet myself, but because I don't make time for that, that's the only reason why I didn't do it. And it had also felt like the things that they gave me were like straight out of Chat GPT. I feel like you guys, I've been using Chat GPT a lot in both my work at MailChimp and personal social content I make for other people, just figuring out how to organize my thoughts. So definitely lean into using that for yourself. But I wouldn't pay a company to do that for me, right? So then I got these scripts and I booked my own space at the SAG-AFTRA Foundation Voiceover Lab because they kind of expect you to record it by yourself too, which I'm also like, all right, like what if somebody doesn't have access to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, or their space in their apartment isn't quiet? I'm like, okay, guys. But apparently part of their package is that they send you a voiceover mic. And I'm like, okay, you can send me a mic, but it's still not going to sound as good as a proper studio. So cool. That was a setback, but I'm glad that's like Anna said, the Foundation Voiceover Program, if you are part of SAG, is such an amazing resource. 10 years ago, it's basically how I started my understanding of voice of over editing and voice work in general. So I'm getting back into that. Anyway, so I booked out 2 hours in the solo booth at the SAG Foundation, and we recorded with the same director that initially I spoke to. I sent over my recordings to back to RealArc, and they're going to edit them for me and put them together. I'll share it with you guys in the thread once it's done. But my point of sharing the story was I could have done all of that myself, and thank God I'm not paying money for that. So when you're paying people to do that kind of stuff, just do your research. I didn't do any research into what their process looks like because I got it for free. But I'm still paying for the reel making, like actual video reel situation. So I've spoken to 3 different writers. They just sent me the scenes. I think that's going to be valuable. But for voice stuff, I would say you can do all that yourself. Anyone have any questions about that?
I definitely would love to know the spots that you research for the real work. I know it's based in New York, but just to see like what their how their process is and how to differentiate and whatnot, that'd be really useful information as well.
And what I would do actually is like almost research outside of paying a company like that. I would figure out, I would just like try to reach out to voiceover directors and just work with them directly and say, hey, what if I pay you $100 and you direct me in a separate session? I don't know if I would ever look into paying an actual company to do that for me. And I would just research, I would just decide on my brand and research and just use ChatGPT to create these scripts. Ooh, Rebecca, what is this? This looks
So
good.
I was gonna say, well, 2 things. Like when I created the link I put in the chat, I was chatting with a friend of mine who's a full-time narrator, and she was telling me if I could have gone back in like the beginning of my voiceover career, I would have gotten really clear on my brand. And like this book I'm using now to like pivot things because I didn't do enough research in the beginning. And I haven't read it yet, but I've ordered it, and it's cool because the book, there's also like visuals of like how to visually present yourself as well as a voiceover talent. Because before people listen to you, they're like seeing ads and different things of like, it's also visual as well as auditory. So that is a resource. But what I was gonna say, I know with my reel, my demo reel, I took scripts that I had worked on in previous voiceover classes, and I recorded them in my studio so as my quality. And then I had a friend of mine, but you could do this by hiring somebody on Fiverr for like really cheap, is find music to underlie the brands that like fits the brands, and then you've got your dub. That's what I did, and it saved me thousands of dollars. So yeah, just wanted to share.
Yeah, there's always just ways to save money and do things on your own as long as you just do the research. Even if you chat GPT, how do I make my own voice reel? I'm sure it's like will spit out some shit for you
Yeah.
these days. Um, okay, one sec. All right, so then another thing that I was going to say is I don't know if I've ever shared with you guys my process of how to memorize monologues. Is that at all interesting to you? Okay. Okay, this is really quick and easy. So let's say that I'm reading for this script and I'm trying to memorize this whole thing. What I would do is um, for every line of text that is here, I write the letter of every word. So the first line is Yeah, I remember one day she was. Yeah, I remember one day she was. Does that make sense? And then second line, picking you up and my mom was late. So I do that for every single line. And so once I start memorizing this, I try to remember using the first letter first and obviously reference it if I don't. But you will be amazed at how quickly this will help you memorize um, like longer pieces of text. Has anyone used this method before? Are you familiar with it? Okay, nice. I forget who told me about this. I think I learned this from Drama Inc. Anyway, if anyone has any questions about that, uh, I'm happy to talk about that. Anyway, that's what I do. Another thing was, so I did this Erica Bream class, and really feel free to jump in also with the things that you learned. But my big takeaways, like I shared every single article that she shared in our WhatsApp group. And it was like literally, it reminded me that I don't do any research on the industry as it happens. Like there is so much amazing info and knowledge about what's going on in the business that's happening. And then like it's all on Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, all these articles, just like I think it's important for us to stay up to date on what's happening in the industry. That podcast episode that I shared, it's called The Fudge. It's a podcast episode that I shared in our WhatsApp group
Huh?
about, sorry,
Is it the town?
the town. Yeah. That first episode that I shared, I started listening to it and my mind was blown. I was like, I can't believe I didn't know this stuff. It was about like why certain projects film in certain places like Georgia or New York or the UK or all over. And the paradigm is definitely shifting. So what I found most interesting was that I didn't know that California has the lowest number of lowest amount of incentives versus New York has like half as much, double as much, and Georgia is unlimited, which is why there's so much production in Georgia. So the government pays productions back, and after they reach a certain cap in California or New York, like they don't have any more money to give. And places like Georgia, they have all the money. They're very smart. And now California is raising that limit, but they're still like way behind New York and Georgia. Which is so interesting. So I'm never going back to California. And no offense if anybody's there now. Yeah. Sorry, Hope. Come to the east side. um anyway, so stuff like that. Like definitely go through that list this holiday break when we have a little bit more extra time. Read some of those articles. Erica Breen says that, the virtual auditions are here. Self-tapes are here to stay. We're gonna be seeing a lot more virtual auditions. So what that tells me is that we all need to be more comfortable in the virtual audition space. That's the same space as that, like a callback, right? So we're getting our callback setups up to par. That means that it's not just a self-tape setup, but there's a way that you can set up your computer to make it look good. Are you using a webcam with your computer? Are you using your normal, like what's the best way that you can look in a virtual audition space, not self-tape? So taking online classes right now, especially for people that are if you're like in Virginia, I think Jeremy, you're in Virginia, right? And you don't have access to like the incredible classes that we might have in New York, these teachers are all doing virtual classes. Take advantage of being in a smaller market, living in a cheaper city, but still being able to you're still able to train with like these famous teachers. So do that research. Um, Practice, but still keep practicing with people in person because you're going to get those in-person auditions too. So we're practicing in person, we're practicing with coaches online, we're taking acting classes online and in person. Um, so then there's going to be a lot more VR filming. I've only done one VR project and it was 2017 and it was really cool. But so Erica Bream is recommending take your body movement classes if you've never done body movement or practice martial arts like Regina's does her boxing training. I love yoga, Pilates. We're focusing on breath work, voice work, and those are things that we can also do in a YouTube video. You don't have to spend money on classes in person. Take a voice work, take an Alexander technique class on YouTube for free. And he recommends perfecting a dialect because productions are moving abroad. And in general, having a dialect is helpful because it opens you up to a whole slew of other roles. If you, this is going to be kind of random, if you are waiting to get your passport in a place that you are allowed to get a passport, if that's Europe, lucky you, because it's a lot more work for you. If anybody wants to marry me for Canadian citizenship, message me later. Or meaning like I'll give you the US citizenship you need. You know what I mean? Just kidding, not really. There's gonna be a lot more comedy coming in. A lot of networks are buying more comedies, looking for more comedies. So casting directors are looking for stand-up experience, improv experience, comedy scene study on those resumes. I took a stand-up class once. It was fucking fun. I recommend it. I'm not as good as at improv. There's also dramatic improv. If you're bad at comedy improv like me, like I hate the idea of trying to be funny on purpose. Like it stresses me out. So I would consider taking a drama improv class too. Uh, reduce your materials. Like as we grow, I think this is what I'm also reminding myself. As we grow in this business, like our level of expertise is going to be changing and improving. Go through your materials this season or this week and see if there's anything that you can remove from your actors access. Like my clips from like 5 years ago are definitely need to go. Like that's what I do. Consult with somebody. If you're going to be coaching, if you're going to coach, you can literally coach with like either a proper acting coach, you can coach with certain casting directors. I've paid, I think, Erica Arvald to look at my materials and tell me what's the least strong material, and I took that down. Or like took stuff out of my reels that people would recommend because we all think like, oh, the more opportunities I can show of my acting, the better. But like some of them are just not that strong. You never know when a producer or casting director sees a part of that material that might be a little old and irrelevant, and be like, oh, maybe this isn't the right person for the role. Reps. Figure out the best way to communicate with your reps. Things are going to start ramping up in January. So maybe in the beginning of the year, send them a quick note. Not a too, like they don't have time to read long ass messages. Maybe send them a note saying like, hey, Happy New Year. If you guys have time for a quick meeting, I'd love to meet with you and discuss goals. But if not, like here are the things that I'm working on. Here are the casting directors that I'm targeting. Here are the shows that I'm targeting. Here are the people that I've been taking classes with. Like send them a little update. Send them an update so they know that they can rely on you to be doing your job, and they're aware of and if they don't respond to you, don't think that that's the end of the world. They're busy. It'd be nice if they responded, but sometimes they don't. That doesn't mean that they don't see. Um, I feel like I'm all over the place. I hope that's okay. Another thing, make a list. Speaking to what Regina said, make a list of all the casting directors you've read for, that you've booked with, that you've taken classes with, that you're targeting. And you guys already started doing that in one of the exercises that I made you do a month ago, where I asked you who are the casting directors in your market, right? Some of you made those lists. Great. Um, focus on okay, this is what I'm doing. Focus on being a good actor too. I know it's because this business stuff is so much easier for me than actually believing myself as an actor, that sometimes I put like the acting side to the wayside and I'm just like, oh, I got it, whatever. But no, focus on doing great work. Erica Bream said, good acting will still win, will always win. over the amount of followers you have, over how good your self-tapes look, etc. I went to listen to James Cleary speak. James Cleary wrote that book that I keep mentioning, Acting Professionally, and he's the MFA director at Columbia for the acting program. James Cleary is a very generous casting director and educator. I've coached with him before. He's a great, amazing, amazing resource. He literally sent me a list of emails from all the casting directors in New York where I have coached them. Like, that's wild. And I have never used it because I'm a fucking idiot. But I'm going to. It's okay. The industry isn't dying. Things are not going to come back full swing, but they're going to come back slowly. Create goals that are achievable. Find a new class. Overhaul your materials. Research another market, if you will. Try to be as good of an actor as you can. But also survive as a human first. Focus on, if you're not surviving as a human first, if you're struggling just baseline living, don't do any of the acting shit I've told you. Don't do it. Focus on being a full, supported, healthy, happy human before any of this acting shit. That's gonna help you in your career. Anyway, I've talked a little bit too much. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any comments, concerns? This is a general list of to-dos from Erica Bream. Otherwise, a lot of it was just industry updates and the trends that you will see that I've mentioned as well. Julie, do you feel like I maybe missed anything important that maybe you got out of that experience, that class?
The big stuff for me was the stuff that you mentioned about skills and kind of tidbits on what to work on in the meantime. And then another thing she mentioned was script analysis, to focus on that.
Yes, she did. Focus on script analysis, tone, the natural arc of the character, transition. Focus on creating that character. But also bring in authenticity, she said. Bring in the authenticity of who you are into that role. And then you know what the best way to do that is? To know yourself and be a full-fledged human. Wild. Okay.
Oh, Julie.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to go first? Oh, I was going to ask, with those articles and the podcast, I think you mentioned, are you going to put that in the email? Because I'd be very curious to read.
Yeah, I can. Are you not in the WhatsApp group?
Oh, are they in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah. I posted
Never
literally
mind.
every single one.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Yes, Julie, go ahead.
And then the other thing she mentioned was that if you're a creator and you have things that you've written, it's time to make those and get those out there because people want to buy something that they can see.
100%. She said they're going to be seeing the Issa Rays and the high maintenances and the broad cities even more. People, yeah, if you guys haven't seen High Maintenance or Broad City or Issa Rae's Insecure, but it started as Awkward Black Girl. These are now things that have been around for like 10 years. And these are all things that started on YouTube. These days with the access of like YouTube, access to iPhones, like if you really want to make something, there should be kind of like no excuse not to make it. It's hard still. I'm not saying it's easy. It's like some of the hardest shit that you can do is make stuff yourself. But it's just so much easier nowadays than it was back then. And if you have any questions about like recommendations as far as how to make your own stuff, I'm always happy to chat with you on voice note. Typing for me is like on my phone, long sentences is hard, but if you send me a voice note, we can always talk about it. So I will wrap up by saying that thank you for sharing the space with me. I hope that it was helpful. I know it wasn't perfect because honestly, I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had like no plan at any point. Like, I was just like, I think this would be fun to do. And which is why it was free because I'm like, I don't want to put anyone through something that I haven't fully thought out yet. But you guys have inspired me and has made me look into things that I haven't looked into in years for our mutual benefit, which I really appreciate. I've had the opportunity to reconnect with people that I maybe haven't spoken to in years because I wanted to share them with you. And I am really grateful for all of y'all. I'll keep the WhatsApp group open. We can keep sharing and using it, keep sharing resources. You don't have to stay in the group if you don't want to, but I think it's what you guys have already is a built-in community when it's so hard to create for yourself always. So keep using the WhatsApp group, keep chatting. I'm going to send you guys a whole follow-up email with more information, more links, and kind of next steps. My only request is maybe I'm going to maybe send a Google questionnaire to ask you like questions about what you would recommend I do in the future if I do this again, stuff like that. And I would really appreciate if you guys just spell that out to help me. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life going forward with this. Like, I'm not trying to be a coach. I'm not trying to be a teacher. Like, I really just love building community. Um, so I don't know where I'll take it. I really enjoyed the space. I've enjoyed every time that you guys popped up on my screen. When I did my best year review ever, I know we didn't get to share our answers, but one of the things that I was grateful for was just having this space. So thank you. Here for any questions. And yeah, have a happy holiday, happy new year. And yeah, that's it. Oh, thanks. I'm reading the chat. Oh, thanks, you guys. Wait, let's do a photo. Let's do like a happy photo so I can remember this moment. Okay, ready? Yay! 1, 2, 3. Oh, thank you so much, you guys. But yeah, we'll be in touch. I'm not going anywhere. We'll see. Maybe I'll do one of these again. But good luck with everything, y'all. Happy holidays. Bye.